Picture the scene. It's 2025. Casper's up 96x. HBar is up 65x. You've made tons of money in XRP and every other altcoin under the sun. You sat there swilling your brandy, smoking your cigar, when you look at your phone to see that one of your favorite cryptos is now down 55% and everything is starting to bleed towards the downside. You start to panic. You hold on because you think that we're going to see bigger highs in the future. You don't worry. And then one day you wake up and you're back to where you started. Don't believe that this can happen? Well guys, it happens to around 95% of people who participate in crypto markets, and it's not because they're stupid, but it's because they focus on a number of different issues and they never had the plan in place. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly my exit strategy and how you can avoid being one of those 95% of people and actually be part of the 5% who make money. Hit the like button and let's get into this video. Now, this is a total market cap for crypto excluding Bitcoin, and it shows where we are currently right now, hitting this equilibrium line. We could potentially see a bounce from here. And I know that you've seen the narratives everywhere else saying that, we're not in a bull market yet, this has not happened, this has not happened. That's potentially true. But if you've been involved in Bitcoin at all this year, or crypto in general since the start of the year, you'll know that right now you're feeling a bit down and out because crypto's been going sideways and if a bit of down, for some time, and it's been pretty confusing. But every time we've seen pumps like this, you probably will realize that within you, you get that hope back. You get that excitement coming back every time you get into these pumps, okay? And it happens every single time. And I want you to realize how much it manipulates your mindset when it comes to cryptocurrency. When it's going down like this, you're like, oh, I've got more time, I don't know what's going on. And then suddenly it pumps, you're like, I'm going to be rich. This is the biggest problem in cryptocurrency, and it is basically that we get manipulated by a price chart. And surely you believe me, because you've woken up and you've looked at that crypto bubbles or whatever app you use, and you see the manipulation that goes on. The big exchanges out there also know that this happens. If you were in the last bull market, you probably got notifications from the likes of Bybit or Binance to tell you Bitcoin's up 21% today, and then you go in and you're like, oh my god, I need to get in because I'm going to miss out. And this is not a video telling you not to FOMO in, because you should have been FOMOing in along with me throughout the most of this year already. DCAing in, okay? It's not really FOMOing in because nothing's really done much. Right now, we're still very, very early. If Bitcoin is to roll from where we are right now, and remember, we are just one piece of news information away from a massive rally. At any given point in time, we are but one piece of news away from starting a bull market. You don't know. I don't know for sure, but no one knows. You could wake up tomorrow and you could see Bitcoin up like this, and then, we could be into a bull market that does this. Who knows? Okay. So we must be prepared for our exit strategy. Now, why do most people lose right now? Well, I want to ask you something. You're buying crypto right now. How much money do you want to make in the next bull market? And that will probably take most of you by storm because you've probably not really thought about it. The answer for most people is a lot. I understand that. But if you've ever tried to achieve anything where you've not been sure or had a set amount in mind or whatever it is, I guarantee you that it never really happened. So what do we need to do? What's the first thing we need to do? Well, first of all, I want to start with Thomas Carlyle, who is a historian, philosopher from Scotland a couple of hundred years ago. And he quoted once that a man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder, basically saying that you can go, but it won't have any direction and it will kind of eventually get lost and end up washed up on the shore or the rocks somewhere else. This is a very important, and it's kind of important for life in general, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you must be making goals, but I know one thing for sure: if you've ever set out to achieve anything, it always started with a goal or an idea of where you want it to go. So what we need to do is identify what it is that we want to have out of this bull market. Now, it might be that you want to leave with a 10x on whatever money you've got. If you're starting with 10 grand, you want to leave with 100k. Why do you want 100k? What is that 100k to you? You need to understand that that goal, or whatever it is at the end of the market, is really important to think about. That 100k means for me that maybe I can pay off my mortgage. What does it mean if I pay off my mortgage? Then it means that maybe I can retire a little bit earlier. Maybe it means that I don't have to work so hard. Maybe it means that I have more security. Maybe it means that I can pay for this extra holiday, whatever it is. There needs to be a quantity and amount at the end, and I recommend not overshooting this, but aiming for something like a 10 to maybe a 20x or whatever it is, an amount at the end of a bull market. Now, I don't know that it's going to be the end of the bull market by which time I achieve my 10x. Okay, if I achieve the 10x in this situation before the end of the bull market, well, because I've achieved my goal, I must pull everything out. Why is it important to have this in mind? Well, let me tell you, if you were involved in the last bull market and you were sat up and around here, I guess you can tell me what you probably would have felt like having already done this run and seen this is days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You basically, in the space of about 2 weeks, would have seen Bitcoin blowing up from here to here, something like 90%, and that would have been an insane drive forward in most of the altcoins as well. And then you would see big pumps and stuff in the altcoins as well. What happens to your mind at this point is you start to think that you're going to be rich. You start to think in your mind like, oh, well, it's going to go up this much. And then you start to plan for things. You're like, I'm going to go and buy this car, and then I'm going to go and do this. And that is the mind basically playing tricks on you, okay? And everyone who starts to sell off the big money knows that your mind is working like this. They know that all the lemmings are starting to plan for their future, getting their Lamborghinis and whatever else. And then guess what they do? They crush your dreams, okay? And then they do a nice another build. And then what do? They tell you that you're going to get rich, and then they crush your dreams, okay? So we have to have our dreams that have to be achieved somewhere on this way up, or perhaps in a second leg up. And the only way to do that is to have a plan in place for what you're going to be pulling out as we go. Now, only you and only you know the answer to what that dream or that idea is, because you and me, we have different dreams, different goals, different amounts of money, all that other stuff, okay? So only you can have an idea of where you need to be in these times, and you must stick to that goal, because the people who pulled money out of Bitcoin here never knew that they absolutely nailed it. They would have been pulling it out, and it would have been damn hard to pull money out here, because you have to go against your crazy monkey mind that's telling you that it's going to keep going up, okay? And then the next day it rolls over, and then you're like, okay, maybe I'll get in. But you know, if they've already achieved their goal here, then you have to get out and walk away, and that's incredibly difficult to do. And if you can't do it, you will end up basically broken along with everyone else. How do I know where the tops come in? Well, I've told you before, if you subscribed, when you start to see the big banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, releasing news articles that Bitcoin's going to go to $500,000 or whatever it is, then you need to start selling. When people start selling pictures of rocks for like $750,000, which was like JPEGs, NFTs, whatever, then you need to sell up and get out the market. When someone who you know knows nothing about tech and anything starts coming to you and saying, is it a good time to buy Bitcoin? You do what? You sell the market. And this you have to do, because everyone on YouTube and everywhere else is going to be feeding your ego and what you want to hear through confirmation bias, because it gets them loads of views. And also, you don't know that that YouTuber isn't stuck in the same trap as you, okay? Where they're thinking, oh, it's going to go to the moon, I'm going to keep going, and everyone else is an idiot who tells me it's not. The only way is to plan your exits. Now, in order for you to plan the exits and to be able to get the best gains possible, let me help you out with something. I've talked to you in the past about the path to altcoin season, and you probably have seen this and you're probably bored of seeing it, but it's important because phase one, the Bitcoin run, happens significantly before a lot of what else goes on in the markets. Bitcoin will strip money away from altcoins, and it will pull money in through fiat currency in order to gain very quickly, okay? And when it does gain very quickly, you might see a little bit of a push in the others, but really they don't seem to push that aggressively. I do think Ethereum will get pulled along for the ride because of its market cap, because it's already pretty much up towards Bitcoin market cap level. And then your large caps, your Solanas, your HBars, your Cardanos, whatever they are, will start to get pulled up aggressively afterwards, after that money starts to flow out of Bitcoin. Then you get into your altcoin season where you kind of degen coins roll in and everything around you is making like insane cash every day, like the galas in the last market, the Decentralands that did like an 8x in like 3 days. This is where this comes in. And there are kind of multiple ones that happen through an entire bull market, but you have to be ready for that. And I'm going to use these two charts to just show you a comparison between Bitcoin, and at the top we've got Solana. You can see that Bitcoin was basically alive and kicking before Solana really even did anything. Solana didn't even get started in a bull run until this low here after the first full leg up and pullback from Bitcoin. So during that first phase, you could have made like a 7-8x on Bitcoin and then started to use your profits and push them into other things such as Solana. Not saying Solana, but you know, just an example. If you're smart as well, you will take the gains that you make from coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum and you will start to move them into coins that have yet to pump. This is why I get so annoyed at people who FOMO into coins, because when one coin like Casper or whatever is pumping, everyone just wants to talk about that coin. When it's me and everyone wants to talk about that coin, that's when I want to maybe take my profits and sell it and start looking at something else, okay? This to me is basically the best strategy. So to put things simply, let's say right now, I want to be putting into Bitcoin some cash. Let's say in this scenario, we're going to say $1,000. Now, if Bitcoin is to rally from this price at the point at which it doubles my money, which means Bitcoin has to get to around 52K in this situation, then maybe I want to start to take some money off the table from this. But because remember, we are looking at Bitcoin being the early part of the market, I'm happy to take money out of Bitcoin and put it into other altcoins. So what I might do is be prepared to leave $1,000 in Bitcoin and maybe take another $1,000, which I've got in terms of the profit, and start to put that into other altcoins. Now, we know the bull market could run for sort of 18 months or so. Once we start to make really big astronomical profits in altcoins, and we're talking smaller cap altcoins, remember, we don't want to be taking the profit and starting to put it into other altcoins, because at some point you will get a blow off top later on, and the later you leave it in the market, there's a higher chance of the blow off top, and the more a coin rallies towards the top, the harder it will come down. So we need to start pulling money at that point out of those altcoins and turning it into something like USDT. And this is going to be very difficult for you. And the amount of profits you need to start taking needs to be higher the later on you are in the bull market, because at some point it's going to turn around on you, okay? And it will be so much easier for you to do this if you have your goal in place. Remember, if the goal was to make, let's say, $100,000 because of, you know, X and Y, then I can pull my $100,000 out, and if I've got anything left over, and then you can go away and play with that leftovers, because you would have pulled out that 100k, and at some point you will be really delighted that you did. You might pull out a week or 2 weeks early, but this is the reason we write this down now, because if I write down now that I have the ability to 10x my money in the next year or two, it makes it very easy to work out how much I'll have and how happy and how I will feel about having that money right now, compared with later on in the bull market when my mind is taken away by manipulation of all the prices and all this stuff, because that's when I go into my dream world where I'm buying this and buying that and buying my yacht and whatever else. And that is where I get carried away, and that's where someone takes advantage of me. And that's what ultimately we have to be very, very cautious of. Now, guys, we are very early on. In my opinion, we are in a bull market. This is where I think Bitcoin is going to go in the short term. I do think that we are retesting a very key area of resistance here for Bitcoin, which is the blue line, and we do seem to be kind of finding support here. If we come down to this blue line again, I do anticipate we're going to bounce, and eventually we will break this line, and it could come very soon. And if we break this red line, then in my opinion, we're shooting back up to retest this area. If we break down again, we could see another bounce. But until this blue line is broken, I think we are potentially always only days away from a piece of news that is the catalyst that drives us up towards 35, 40k. And you never know when it's going to happen. So have your plan in place now. Be ready to get involved in the next bull market. When everyone's telling you that you're stupid for selling and everyone's talking about crypto, that's probably the time that you start selling. Right now, everyone's telling you you're stupid for buying. That's probably the time that I would start buying because of this. And if you want to know exactly when to be getting in or selling projects or whatever, then get across the inner circle, link down below in the description. It's just $9.99 per month. And I've got something insane as well that we're working on right now. Now in here, you'll see that a bunch of expert traders are sharing their analysis every single day of different charts. And starting from Monday, I will also be doing a daily breakdown analysis in here of everything that I am looking at. Each morning, I'll be doing a 10-minute chart breakdown, which I'll share in this Discord. As well as that, if you get involved in here, you'll be able to participate in pre-launch crypto projects. Right now, we are raising 100k for a project, and you can get in and be able to invest in a pre-launch crypto project which is what all the whales do. And that's how the whales make massive amounts of money, guys. And you can do it through getting into that link down below in the description and joining the inner circle for just $9.99, 5-day free trial, or you can sign up for a year and save 20% and it'll cost you $100. Participate in chats, find out all the strategies and everything that all these guys are sharing on a daily basis. You will never miss a beat if you're in the inner circle, and there'll be tons of things coming up in there all the time. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye bye.